Everybody in attendance tonight, get a bottle in your hands and pour up. And if you are KME hated them.
Hello, and welcome to Inconsequential Souls. Today, I wanted to discuss a little bit about some of the cool items and armor that have been released, or not necessarily released, but I guess kind of revealed in the latest Dark Souls 3 trailers, and I guess showcase some of the other minor items and stuff that was showcased in the background, and mostly, I guess, not a whole lot, but just a little bit discuss how Dark Souls 3 is shaping up to be probably one of the best in the series, the best in the series. And lastly, even though all this exciting stuff is happening, why I'm also kind of sad. Dark Souls 1 Eastern armor confirmed. Brand new dagger for me to wreck face with, confirmed. New weapons and armor sets that look just as good as all the other games, just as cool, confirmed. The Shadow set making an appearance once again in the Souls game, confirmed. And the classic witch set for all of my spellcasters out there, confirmed. Okay, so according to the latest news, the company made it their business to try to make weapons as unique and as different from each other as possible. And it's seeming as if a lot of the older and more tried and true weapons might be making an appearance in Dark Souls 3 again with, I guess, their obvious upgrades. That being the case, my feeling for the idea that you can fall in love with a weapon now kind of, I guess, seems to be coming true. And I can't speak for Bloodborne as if I played the game, but I definitely could see the uniqueness and the different types of weapons in that game, even though it's not a game I'm particularly interested in. Still, the mechanics for the weapons, you have to give credit where credit's due, and they executed that pretty well in that game, in my opinion. So collectively, in my opinion, or the way I see it, is they're taking the best of every game in the series that they've worked on up until this point, and have kind of compiled it into one game. So sort of like taking the things that worked the best in each Souls game, or including Bloodborne, and kind of making those same mechanics, I guess, shine in the new installment, which is kind of surprising. But I'm not surprised that they knew how to execute that well. But then again, this leads to why it is that I'm kind of sad still, which I'll get to in a little bit. But yeah, I see good things. Okay, so with all the good stuff I'm seeing, you might be wondering, why am I sad? What's the problem? Well, the problem is I've never been able to go into a Souls game blind, and there's a ton of reasons for it. The number one reason is that for me to play the first game, it took quite a bit, because I wasn't sure about it when I first saw it, even though it had really cool concepts. It's just that something about it was off, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And then I found out what it was, once I actually owned the game myself and put a ton of hours into it. Now, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I kind of go over what those things are, but I didn't really make a big fuss about them. I made the big fuss kind of secretly, and it's kind of the barrier that kept me from loving the game. I mean, I really like Souls games, but I was never able to fall in love with them. And the thing is, it's like, I know a lot of people who love the Souls games have this connection with it where that is like the definitive game for them. I've heard stories where people said that they just stopped playing other games because Souls was so good. And I had that experience before, but it was with a different series. So I don't know. I really want to be able to fall in love with the Souls game, but even going into the second Dark Souls, which I was completely excited about. I bought the collector's edition. I got the strategy guide. I mean, I was ready to commit, and I was so disappointed, for obvious reasons. I won't get into all of them, but I like PvP, but that's not all there is to a Souls game. I wanted to experience the world. I wanted to immerse myself into the story. I wanted to become a contributor, a big contributor to like the lore, but I wasn't able to do it because things kept changing around and some stuff just didn't make any sense. And like a lot of the level designs were really bland, and like it kind of seemed as if things were missing for no reason. And I won't go on and on about it because I still like Dark Souls 2 better than I do 1. But I kind of was surprised that a lot of things from the first game that were done well didn't carry over into the second one. That being the case, now I feel like I have to watch the progress of this game like a hawk. I have to watch every little detail, all the nuances to make sure that it's right this time, because I mean, I really committed to Dark Souls 2 to the point where I was kind of heartbroken. I mean, it was a lot of levels to why I was so heartbroken about how the game turned out. And even though I would say it wasn't totally terrible, like I can tolerate some of the flawed mechanics in Dark Souls 2 way more than I can in Dark Souls 1, because again, I like PvP. So for me to kind of go back to the first game, I don't know, like I can only see myself doing that maybe if I was to turn off the ability for other players to invade me. But that was one of the best parts of the game. But the community is like so toxic, and the battle mechanics are so flawed, and there's so many exploits and glitches that the type of PvP that I wanted to play, it just wasn't there. And it's sort of like anytime I tried to develop the game to bring out more of it, it's sort of like the community would punish me, or any type of opponent I ran into would punish me, and they would do it. It felt like in such a satisfying way, like, yeah, don't bring that that good meaningful combat to this arena, like this ain't where it belongs. And if that's what they want to do, I don't have anything to say about it. It's just that it's not for me. I like more combat with a little bit more depth to it. Now, that isn't to say that people didn't try to punish me bringing that same concept to Dark Souls 2. A lot of the community really tried to punish me. But the difference in the second game was there was no win button. There was no abusable mechanic to disregard certain techniques and abilities. So they had to deal with what I brought to them. They had to deal with what I brought to the table, and I had to deal with what they brought to the table. And that's what combat should look like. And once you reach that certain point and you hit a plateau, it's on you and your opponent to try to raise the bar. And that's something that Dark Souls 2 was allowed to do, and it's seeming that's what Dark Souls 3 is going to, I guess, improve upon. Now, I would have loved to go on a media blackout, just like everyone else, but unfortunately, the things that I'm looking for in a Dark Souls game, you know, story and everything, I'm fine with that. Like, I love the lore, I love exploring, I love taking in the world, and I like being surprised with, you know, the things that Dark Souls does when it throws a curveball at you. But I'm more into gameplay mechanics, and I have to see what direction they're going in, which is unfortunate for me, and it's why I'm sad. I really wished I could have went on a media blackout, but I couldn't afford it this time because of what happened with me with Dark Souls 2. I guess it's safe to say I could probably relax a little bit this time around. But I don't know. I'll probably stop getting updates at this point and just wait for the final release of the game. I guess I just hope that I don't regret it, but I'll have faith that I won't. Anyhow, this has been Inconsequential Souls, and I hope to see you next time.
Snakeskin, EKs, tight turtlenecks, Jordache jeans, stone watch, sneaks to match, charm bracelet, charm belt, a tight Jerry curl, but who didn't rock one? Block parties, fire hydrants, but could only mess with it on the weekends. House party at my crib tonight, everybody's invited, whole hood's excited. Favorite rapper, Fresh Prince, in South Jersey, no BT till 6. Remember, always had to get the floor model fixed. No grab before it got direct to change the channels with. Remember.